Strippers of Reddit, what's your weirdest story while working? Hick Club. Guy who was a celery farmer came in and gave us all free bags of celery. There was also Candle Guy, worked at a candle factory and would bring in the reject candles. Supposedly other farmers with various free foods would come in, but I only got hooked up with celery and candles. There's a very sweet older man who is a regular at my club. He's never gropey and always tips in 20s. His only request is to lick and suck in the bottom of our shoes. I can't see the harm in it. But it grosses some girls out. I guess so long as he's paying. He can shine my shoes all day lol. Our club has been closed for months now. I wonder how he's doing these days. I was the bartender at a strip club for a few months once. I have seen and heard some crazy stories. Classic strip club stuff. But this one time, a customer brought in her pet parrot to the bar. I obviously spent the rest of my shift talking with the parrot. His name was Pickle. He tipped me $1. He was a real gem. I went with my friend on a sorta slow Tuesday night. Met this dancer that hated this one creepy dude and asked me to keep buying dances and she'll pay me back and take me to the 24-hour pub place. Heard this one before. I keep buying dances and we talk about Zelda OOT. End of the night comes around. She gives me her number and texts me to meet at the pub place in an hour. A woman of her word. She gives me my cash back and buys me pho. TLDR, stripper bought me pho. 1. Guy was in with his 20-something son. I get the guy to go for a dance. We're in the booth nearest to the entry foyer area. Partway through the song, I look over and see a group paying the cover. One of which is a girl who is staring at us. Next thing I know, this chick has plopped down in the booth next to the guy and goes, "Hi dad." The whole family had come to the strip club. 2. A few of us shared the same regular customer. Very nice soft-spoken man. Played the ukulele as a hobby and drank ginger ale in the club. Always bought at least a half-hour VIP. Often multiple hours. And tipped well on top. Absolute gem of a customer. The catch was that he had a combination of fetishes. He would wear a chastity belt with a chain on it so the girls could pull on it. He also liked to imagine he was a puppy and do this third-person roleplay bit. Like, he would say, if you and other dancer had a slumber party, what would you want puppy to do? Would you put puppy in his cage? I have lots of stories, but those are the weirdest that spring to mind. I feel like most dancers have countless stories. Hard to find weird ones because they're all a little odd and it becomes normal over time. One man spent over $1,000 on me over a couple hours. I massaged his back and he fell asleep in a champagne room. When he woke up he said, "How did you know exactly what I needed?" After the champagne room he wanted more time with me and we went to do several private dances. He cried during them while I sat on his lap and sang to him and brushed his hair back, massaging his scalp with my nails. Another man came up to me garbling about worshipping me and wanting to lick the bottom of my heels, suck the stiletto and drink my urine. It was so slow and I was reading a book in the back of the club. So I was awfully surprised when someone approached me and unleashed all of that on me. My manager said he'd pee in a glass for me if I really wanted to go for it. Cousin's friend is a former stripper. Told this one at a family gathering essentially. This dude paid for the full VIP treatment, room and all that. But 4 minutes in or so, he wanted to show his dogs. He spent the entire rest of the time showing her his dogs and videos of them playing. She asked him why he spent his money for the full VIP treatment just to show dogs. He said, "Oh, I just wanted to show my dogs to someone. But couldn't find another way." Single quote. That's oddly wholesome. But it says so much about our society that someone paid hundreds of dollars in a strip club because they were lonely and no one else cared about them. Either that or they were into showing pictures of their dogs. Not a stripper but was an escort. A man booked me for $400 for 2 hours just to get naked to have dinner in the room and talk to him on the bed. Never wanted sex. Just be naked and talk about stuff. He said he never get to talk to his wife like that. Kinda sad for him. I've had friends, relatives with marriages with seemingly no connections like this. An old friend of mine had sex so infrequently with his wife that when she wanted to have a baby he was over the moon with excitement. And of course she got pregnant on the first try, then immediately shut him down again. Poor guy was a genuinely good person. Perfect husband and dad, and his wife treated him like she stepped in something. She was a total cunt to me and my wife too. I always wanted to ask him why doesn't bail. But I figure it's not my place. I can't understand it. How do these marriages keep going for so long? Not really weird but sad. One time I was doing a VIP session. And this dude legitimately told me to stop dancing. And basically broke down in front of me. Telling me he was only there because his friends dragged him along to cheer him up. From what he told me, he caught his wife in bed with another man. And they recently just got divorced. He told me his now ex-wife told his kids that he was the one cheating. And his kids basically hated him now. I've never felt so bad for a total stranger all my life. This just happened to my friends and family. The wife had an affair with another man and was caught twice. Each time she apologized. News came in today that she somehow made the husband go to sleep or made him unconscious somehow and left with everything valuable, jewelry, money, etc. And both of the daughters. I really don't get how people could do this to anyone. A buddy paid me back $200 with a banded stack of $2 bills. Went to a nearby club with a friend and all was well until a young dancer took the stage. We began putting money on the stage and she just stops and says, "What the fuck is this?" Apparently she hadn't seen a $2 bill before. Escort instead of stripper. I had one guy who would take me to a restaurant once every month. He always requested there would be nothing else involved. No stripping, no touching, no sex. Just sitting there for a few hours. So he also wanted me to dress like I would for a normal night out. He had a massive stutter. So much that a single sentence could take him a minute to pronounce. Normally he would always speak by writing things down. As people never had the patience to listen to him. He just wanted someone to actually talk to. He mentioned that I was his 7th escort. Because the others all refused to see him multiple times. After I left the job, I kept in touch with him. We still go out every once in a while almost 10 years later, and we call more often. Though now he no longer has to pay in because he has had someone to talk to. His stutter massively improved. Does a third-party experience count? A few years ago when Skyrim was still all the rage. Got dragged to a strip club with a friend's birthday party. Noticed that one of the strippers had a Skyrim logo tattoo for a tramp stamp, the Septum Dragon diamond. Pointed it out to the guys in the party. And one dude peeled off to get a dance from her. Fast forward a couple hours and we realized that he never came back to join us. I went looking for him and sure enough, he's sitting in one of the private dance booths. The chick is naked sitting next to him. He's rubbing her feet and they are discussing Skyrim mods. Later on it turned out he ended up spending $400 for the pleasure and she didn't do a single dance for him. When I was a stripper, a customer, visiting from Canada, bought a lap dance, and while we were back there, he tried to talk me into going to his hotel to give him a hand job for $200. I declined multiple times. He took the hint, and also came in his pants during the lap dance. He leaves. Life goes on. 8 years later I'm a hairdresser in the suburbs and who the fuck walks in? Hand job guy. I was the only one available and I'm a professional so I didn't say anything. He mentioned I looked familiar. And halfway through it seemed to dawn on him because he suddenly got quiet. Paid. Literally ran out. And never came back lol. Not a stripper. But I did work in a strip club as a bouncer. Which provided me a great story involving one of the girls. Her name was Robot. Totally cool chick which had quite a following with the locals. In particular one regular of hers would come in once a week. Without missing a single week. And get the same private dance from the same girl, Robot. During his private dance, the man, who was a big fellow, weighing about 350 plus, would ask her to take her stiletto heels and put them down his throat followed by a splash of creamer in his face. He paid her $400 each time. I stripped, but this is actually my coworker's story. She was sitting at the bar with another dancer and a guy walked by. Her friend said, "Quick, put your head down on the bar and be really still." She was weirded out but she did it for a few minutes. And when she came back up, he had left $1,000 next to her head. Friend told her he was a regular. And he was really into women pretending to be dead. There was a guy who was super drunk and telling me he was there with his wife. But it's cool. They have an open relationship thing going on. Cool. Whatever. None of my business. We go and start a dance. Maybe a minute in, this woman runs around he corner and starts screaming at him. He starts screaming back, and pretty much tosses me to the floor and runs after her, dropping $100 in the process while also already having paid for the dance. I grab the money and try to find out what happened. I asked a waitress if she'd seen where he went, and she said he'd just been kicked out for choke slamming the woman into a wall. So I got to keep the money, which was kinda cool. Had another guy pay me $700 to literally just rub my feet for 2 hours. I hate foot stuff, people touching my feet. But fuck man, $700 during a day shift was pretty sweet.